Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that. And also, if the quality of this video is fairly poor, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2023 related video here on my channel, and ladies and gentlemen, it is nearly here. This week sees the 67th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest take place live from Liverpool in the UK on behalf of current champions Ukraine. Tomorrow night is semi-final 1, where 15 acts from 15 different nations will take to the stage, bidding for 10 spots in Saturday night's big grand final. As always, you're very welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment. That's always nice to see. And as always, there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. So this is a bit of a jumbo week in terms of content on my channel. Today I am obviously filming a preview of semi-final 1, and I'll be telling you my prediction for the results tomorrow night as well, which I made over the past couple of days and finalised last night. Tomorrow, all being well, I'll be sitting right here in my bedroom, once again reacting to the results of semi-final 1 as they come in. And that video will be about 15 or 20 minutes long, and you'll either see me in a very buoyant mood, or you will see me slowly sink into a very deep depression. On Wednesday, if I'm feeling much better, who knows, I will be doing a preview of semi-final 2, reviewing semi-final 1, and indeed telling you my semi-final 2 prediction, which I'm working on right now. On Thursday, I'll be reacting to the semi-final 2 results on my TV. On Friday, I will review semi-final 2, preview the grand final, and tell you my very rough prediction for the grand final results. And it will be a very rough prediction. On Saturday there will be no video from me because I'll be on the pier head in Liverpool with my friend Peter watching the grand final on one of the big screens in the Eurovision village alongside 20,000 other people, something like that. Absolutely fabulous. And then next week, all being well, possibly a week today, there will be a long rambling review of the entire contest on my channel, and I'll be going through the semi-final results and everything like that, and also telling you a little bit about my experience in Liverpool, because it is going to be a fairly fleeting visit, but I'm sure some of you will be interested to hear what I've got to say about that. And hopefully, at some point, I really don't know when, no guarantees here, there could be a vlog from Liverpool on my channel at some point after the grand final. Whether that's in just over a week's time, or whether that's in a month's time, I don't know, and how much footage there'll be remains to be seen, but hopefully there will be some footage to go up on my channel. So, before I get into this preview, believe me, I'm getting there, a couple of newspaper clippings first, ladies and gentlemen, because Eurovision is definitely getting a lot of mentions in the press. It's been on the news yesterday. The BBC were there outside St George's Hall in Liverpool, and Diljau from Iceland was doing a handstand in the background. You might well have seen that video. But yes, we've had the coronation, now it's time for the real party, you know what I'm saying? So this was in the Times. Sviatoslav Bazakutsa is a 14-year-old chess prodigy from Ukraine who's moved to the Liverpool area because of the war in his country. And as part of the Euro Festival, he's going to play 20 matches at the same time against English players. You can't really see him, but believe me, that is our man. And he's going to be playing a whole lot of chess. Then we've got this article here, fabulous. Forget royalty, Eurovision is the real jewel in the UK's crown. The article talks about how inclusive Eurovision is, especially with the LGBT plus community. It also talks about neighbourly voting and rightly mentions how we sort of criticise other nations for doing it, but the UK and Ireland do it as well. And it says here at the end, forget the coronation, Eurovision is the rallying event that the nation needs right now. And again, you can't really see this, but there is a picture of the newly coronated king and his missus at the Liverpool Arena when the stage was revealed a week or two ago. So there we are. There's also lots of other bits and pieces in the press as well. Today there was an article about the opening ceremony and the turquoise carpet, and there's a picture of Let 3 wearing skirts, I think. Something like that. Anyway, a preview of semi-final 1. I'm going to be fairly brief with my thoughts because I have already spoken about these songs plenty of times, but here we go. Stick around for my prediction if you're interested. So, semi-final 1 tomorrow night starts at 8 PM UK time, finishes at about 10:15 UK time. 15 nations involved. Yes, they'll all vote alongside 3 of the automatic qualifiers, France, Germany and Italy, and the rest of the world. Who's going to get the rest of the world's 12 points? Interesting times indeed. It could be the difference between a country making the cut and a country failing to qualify. Anyway, song 1 is, of course, Queen of Kings by Alessandra for Norway. She's great. I think she's got a smashing voice. Her performance in Liverpool looks to be pretty similar to how it was at MGP, with the flashing lights and the dancers waving the big lights, and she's in this sort of dark green, almost velvety warrior outfit, which is slightly different from MGP. Some people think that her outfit before was better. It doesn't really bother me at all. I think she still looks very good. She came into MGP absolutely as one of the favourites, but Ulrika was right there, and I did a video reacting to Honestly because I was very excited for the release of that song. I was very excited to see her back in MGP, and I thought, oh, maybe, you know, she's going to have one hand on the MGP trophy. Not to be, because Alessandra won by a mile in the end. This song is very popular. I think the momentum might have died down just a little bit over the past week or so, but I think the general feeling amongst most Eurovision fans is that not only is this qualifying, but it's going to be right up there getting a lot of love on the Saturday night, possibly making the top 10, if not the top 5, maybe even the top 3 at a push, who knows. It's a very, very good song. It's got this pulsating chorus, and although it could be a little bit stronger visually maybe, there's no denying that she's a great singer, and the song, I believe, is already very popular on TikTok and things like that, so you never know, that could translate into a lot of points. Being on first is not really damaging at all for Norway in this instance. Song 2, The Busker, Dance Our Own Party for Malta. Now, I said this before and I'll say it again. We had Brooke, we had Ryan Healy, we had Michaela Patch. We had some decent singers and decent songs in the very long-winded Maltese national selection earlier this year. But thinking about it, this was arguably the absolute best choice. After Aidan was disqualified, this was probably the best choice. The Busker, a group of guys. The staging is quite engaging. I suppose it's fairly humorous as well. You've got cardboard cutouts of former Maltese representatives. You've got a sort of car on stage as well. Purple, the main colour scheme. Very retro. You've got the sort of 8-bit graphics that appear on screen at certain points in the song as well. Not a million miles away from what we had at the national final, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is looking fairly slick, quite polished, vocally not bad. The lead singer's wearing that stripy sweater that he whips off towards the end, and he's wearing this more sparkly attire underneath. The only issue for Malta, it's the same thing that has been a problem for years now. The public just never seem to be truly on board with Malta at the contest, no matter how good the song is. Je me casse a few years ago was mid-table, really, with the public, and completely damaged Destiny's chances of maybe finishing in the top 4 or something like that. So there's a lot riding on Malta this year because they didn't qualify last year, but that public mark and no juries, how damaging could that be? Moving on to song 3, Serbia. Something very moody here, very dark. It's Samo mi se spava by Luke Black. He is a showman, I've said this before. At the national final, he performed very well, but now he's on a bigger stage with a bigger crowd. He can really let loose. He looks completely at ease on that stage. This is something that sounds as though it's straight from a video game. It sort of bubbles under the surface, and then it really lets loose. And there's, you know, a bit of choreography and everything, and this sort of fiery theme on the backdrop. Very powerful stuff. I think the public will really, really respond to this with a lot of points. But in the final, if he gets there, what will the juries make of this? Will they find it a little bit too gloomy? I don't really know. But anyway, very different from Serbia's entry last year, but another very credible effort indeed. Song 4 is Latvia. Well, Latvia stink at Eurovision. This could be the song to turn their fortunes around. Who knows? This is Sudden Lights with Aya. This is a very gentle, sweet, lovely song that you can just relax to, and it's like a cool breeze. I think I've said that before on my channel, but it really is. This is just a very, very pleasant song indeed. A real change of pace. This would work so much better, in my opinion, later on in the show, but it is what it is. They drew the first half, so there we are. Yes, all-male group. You've got the lamps behind the members of the band. There's this sort of hazy orange glow. Keep the camera angles up close because this is such an intimate track. It feels very precious, almost very fragile, if you see what I mean. Loads of people really, really love this, but is it really going to get the support on the night? Who knows? Song 5 is Portugal. This is Mimi Cat with Ai Curaçao. Now, about 2 decades ago, she tried to represent Portugal, didn't make the FDC final, And now, all these years later, she is representing her country at Eurovision. Absolutely fantastic. This is a really jaunty, fun, happy tune, sort of burlesque, cabaret in style. It feels a bit old-fashioned, but not in a bad way. She's wearing this big sort of red outfit made entirely of feathers. She's got dancers with her. Visually, this is not as impressive as it was at FDC, and the reason for that is because it seems at Eurovision she's not using the LED screens. They're turned the other way and you've got this wall of lights instead. Okay, fine, but actually I think it sort of makes the song a little less impactful somehow. Don't know what your thoughts are on that, but for me, I think it's a bit of a shame. And I believe she said something about the LED screens and how she didn't really like the design on them or something, which is why she's using the lights instead. I don't really know what the whole story is. I don't really care, to be honest. But I think the feeling amongst quite a few Eurovision fans at the moment is that Portugal is really on the cusp of qualifying. It's not looking like a sure qualifier whatsoever. I'll be telling you my prediction in just a moment, but I really like this song. I like how fluid and bouncy it is. And if this does make the final, I'm not going to be mad whatsoever, because it's a good song. Song 6 is Ireland, Wild Youth with We Are One. This is so unbelievably generic. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely unbelievable. So generic. But at the same time, it's still not bad. It's fairly uplifting stuff. They're giving it a right good go. The national final performance wasn't great because it was in a studio and you couldn't really do a whole lot. Now on the bigger Eurovision stage it's looking a lot better. We've got Pyros, lead singer in a sort of golden outfit, which feels very 1980s. The vocals I'm not convinced by. The song itself, lyrically, not the best, but as I've said before, I don't think many people care about lyrics at Eurovision anyway. If the juries were here, I'm not sure they'd be entirely on board with this one. The juries aren't here, it's down to the public, and Ireland have really struggled over the past few years. Last in 2 previous semi-finals, I think it is, within the past couple of years. This could be 3. So, you know, we'll wait and see, but I'm not expecting big things from Ireland this year. Connolly was right there, and I'm not saying she should have gone to Eurovision, but she should have gone to Eurovision. I've got nothing against Wild Youth, but the song is letting them down. Good act, disappointing song. Perhaps. That's just my opinion. We move on to Croatia. Well, this is just all over the shop. This is Let 3 with Mama Sh, a band who've been around for decades. They're known for their controversy, stripping off for whatever reason. This is a very satirical track, and there's been so much talk about this song and the presentation of it. And what we're going to get on stage tomorrow night is essentially the national final performance, but elevated a bit. It's very psychedelic and very confusing and very, very distracting in a way, to be honest with you. And what a neutral listener will make of it, what a neutral viewer will make of it, remains to be seen. What was I saying? Yes, the song is satirical, and there's been a lot of talk about the message of this song. But I don't think many people are going to give a toss about the message of the song. They're just going to see a group of middle-aged guys getting their butts out in front of millions of viewers. And, I mean, if that's your cup of tea, then you'll be giving in a few points. But it's really hard to say how well this is going to do, because some people think this is cruising through, because it's just the sort of somewhat silly, fun, bizarre track that Eurovision's all about. And some people, I've seen some comments online from individuals saying this isn't going through because people just won't get it. It's a sort of jokey entry that is going to backfire on the night. Nobody's going to really love it. So I think people are quite torn on this one. I'm not a huge lover of the track. I don't mind it. I can tolerate it. But it's not one of my favourites whatsoever. If it goes through, I will not be shocked. The juries in the final will probably kill it, though. As for Song 8, this is Switzerland. I'm starting to ramble, bear with me. This is Remo Forra with Watergun, one of my biggest growers of the year. Now here, the lyrics are very good indeed. Hopefully people pay attention to them. He's a great singer. He really is. He's sounded very good. Every time I've seen him perform this live, he has sounded great. In rehearsals, at pre-parties, really, really nice. It's a lovely slow burn of a song. The staging looks fabulous at Eurovision. And then I watched a couple of people's videos on YouTube ranking the rehearsals, and this was right near the bottom. And I'm thinking, are you watching the same thing that I'm watching? I thought Switzerland was pretty damn good, and you think it's pretty damn crap. What's that all about? Anyway, Switzerland didn't do well last year, made the final, but I think it was 0 points, was it not? from the public? Can't quite remember. It was a very low mark, nevertheless. So this year, trying to bounce back. This is a much better song than what they had last year. It was a bit more memorable. And yeah, if this goes through, I'm not going to be mad about it. Israel, song 9. Well, this is all about the choreography. People are just in raptures, absolutely throwing themselves on the floor with excitement at this. Oh my god, the dancing, it's so slick. This is Super Bowl worthy, etc, etc. It is Noah Kirel, one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star this year, with Unicorn. It's a very slick pop song, essentially 3 songs in one. Sort of starts off normally, and then you've got the phenomenal bit in the middle somewhere, and then you've got this dance break tacked onto the end for some reason. It's a little bit all over the place, but it's going to be a real showstopper, and so it should be, because she's a big star. She's very young, but she knows what she's doing, so she's going to deliver. She's going to absolutely be at her best. We're going to get an A-star performance. That's what I'm expecting. And it was very interesting in the rehearsal clip, because she didn't actually sing. So we don't really know how good her vocals are going to be on the night. I'm sure they're going to be perfectly fine. And, you know, people will be wetting themselves when they see the choreography, because it's looking really, really tight. So I'm expecting this to go through very comfortably. Some people are saying it could win. I'm not sure about that. But certainly in terms of the whole package, this could be one of the tightest and best of the year. As for Moldova, a country that punches above its weight at Eurovision, this is song 10. Pasha Parfeni is back, 11 years on. This is Soarele și Luna, the sun and the moon. This is a very catchy, mystical sounding tune. You've got dancers with horns, I believe. Then you've got a guy playing the flute or something. Pasha's in this flowy outfit. Visually, I'm not entirely sure it's really doing the business for me personally. But I'm still expecting this to do quite well, because Moldova usually do quite well at Eurovision. As I said just a moment ago, this is a country that tends to punch above its weight at the contest. And yeah, I haven't really got any concerns about this one. It's a fine song. It's going to be an all-right performance, and I think the points will come in. Maybe not 12 points here, 10 points there, but a few 5s, a few 6s, they all add up. And to be honest, I'd be quite surprised if this didn't qualify. As for song 11, Sweden, the favourite to win, still the comfortable favourite to win. It is, of course, the 2012 champion Loreen with Tattoo. The staging is similar to how it was at Melfest, with this sort of sandwich of LED screens and smoke everywhere, and Loreen is in this brown outfit and she's really going for it. Her vocals are very, very good. Some people have been left underwhelmed by her rehearsals, including myself, and I think it might just be because I've seen it already. You know, it's the Melfest performance essentially copied and pasted onto the Eurovision stage. There's really not a great deal of difference here. But to somebody who's never heard this song before, to somebody who's never seen this staging before, they could be absolutely blown away by it. And, you know, it's so obvious that this is going to challenge for the win. Now she has a bit more competition. A few weeks ago it looked like it could have been a runaway thing, but now there's a few other countries breathing down her neck, and it will be really interesting to see on Saturday if indeed she's going to win by a mile, which wouldn't shock me, or indeed it's going to be a really close result indeed. It's a great song, very powerful, really builds up nicely, very euphoric, no pun intended, and if it wins, so be it. You know, it is a good song. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, song 12 is Azerbaijan. This is Tural Turan X, the two brothers with Tell Me More. This is sweet, charming. You can never rule out a charming song from doing well at Eurovision. I've said that before. The staging is a little bit bland. It's fairly bright. They're in sort of retro vintage type outfits. The vocals aren't too bad. I think there is a little bit of momentum behind this one. Some people are now saying Azerbaijan might qualify. I would be genuinely surprised. Because I just don't think this is as strong as many of the other songs in tomorrow night's first semi-final. But it's not bad. You know, it feels very throwback, and some people might just be in the mood for that. As for song 13, Vesna, My Sister's Crown, for the Czech Republic, performed in English, Ukrainian, Czech and Bulgarian. This is the group of women. They're all in similar outfits. It's quite different from how it was at the Czech national final, and so it should be, because at that Czech national final we couldn't really see any indication as to what it was going to be like at Eurovision, because it was such a small studio that they were in, and at the pre-parties it was the same deal. They actually came under fire for not sounding great at the pre-parties. Now on the Eurovision stage in Liverpool, it's looking better, it's sounding better, it's looking quite powerful, as though it's going to pack quite a bit of a punch. I'm still not entirely convinced this is going to get a lot of love, which is really interesting, because when this song won the Czech national selection, people were really, really loving this. They were saying that this could be a Eurovision winner. Now, I don't think anybody's predicting this to win, and some people are saying it's going to NQ. So it's a bit like Portugal for me. It could go either way, and if anything, if Portugal and the Czech Republic don't qualify, we could end up saying, oh, it was the staging that let them down more than anything else. Anyway, song 14 is Mia Nicolai and Dion Cooper with Burning Daylight for the Netherlands. Oh yes, this is one of my favourite songs of the year. Lyrically, I just think it's fantastic. It really hits home, absolutely fantastic. It's very maudlin, it's very sad, but there is this sort of hopeful, uplifting finale. It takes a while to get going. There's this little platform on stage. The camera's going to pan around them a little bit as well. Hopefully it's going to look really, really good tomorrow night. But this is looking more like an NQ than a qualifier in the eyes and ears of many Eurovision fans, including the bookmakers who think that this isn't qualifying. That's a real shame. At the pre-party, not a lot of people were really loving this one. The vocals came under fire, absolutely. Duncan Lawrence, former winner, he's involved. And then the Dutch broadcaster themselves said something about this. And so there has been improvements. They performed on Dutch television recently. That was a very nice performance. And in the rehearsals, they've sounded okay. And it's looked pretty tight as well. We'll just have to wait and see. I know I keep saying that. But sandwiched between the Czech Republic and Finland, two songs that are arguably more popular, it could be an uphill battle. As for Finland, song 15, closing tomorrow night's first semi-final, Karja, pronounced Korea on BBC News yesterday, with Cha Cha Cha. This is just so good. It's a blending of genres, pop, techno, EDM, rock. It's all there, smushed together. And what a fabulous song this is. He's performing on top of this crate, and then there are wooden pallets that sort of lead down to the stage floor. There's dancers in pink outfits with manic grins on their faces. He's in this luminous green bolero jacket. The shadow on the backdrop looks absolutely fantastic. Some of the best visuals of the year, no doubt. Maybe in previous years as well. Absolutely sensational stuff. And the crowd are going to go nuts for it. And this is absolutely going through. And so many people love it. And even though it is quite chaotic, and for a first-time listener and a first-time viewer, it might be a little bit too much. It might be too much of an assault on the senses, if you see what I mean. It's so catchy. And like I said in my video, why Finland should win Eurovision 2023, that hook, Cha Cha Cha, universal in any language, people can just get swept up in it, and they can have a great time. And even if they don't have a clue what else he's singing about, they can just go Cha 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 Cha. Anyway, what a ramble, ladies and gentlemen. That is the preview, if you will, of the 15 songs in semi-final 1. Now it is time for the prediction. So, this here, ladies and gentlemen, I actually need to update this. You can't really see it, but I showed this in a previous video. This is my cork board, and I've been moving these slips of card around when I've been working on the prediction. So these slips here, which you can't really see on camera, they're actually sort of pink. This is semi-final 1. The yellow slips are semi-final 2, and I'm working on the semi-final 2 prediction, which is very tough, I'll tell you that right now. But over the past few days, I have been putting together my prediction for semi-final 1, and I have judged each song in 6 different categories, with a mark out of 100 in each category. So, vocals, that is based on the TikTok rehearsal, the YouTube rehearsal, pre-party performances if they were at the pre-parties, national final performances if indeed they were at a national final, or any other live performance of this song. A mark out of 100 in terms of the vocals. Then we've got the staging. This is based on the TikTok clips, the YouTube recaps, and indeed the galleries on the Eurovision website, and also the national final performances if there was one, because they're not a million miles away from each other. So a mark out of 100 for the staging and presentation. Then you've got the bookmakers, the betting odds. I know that we shouldn't really take them as gospel, but most of the time they're pretty accurate. So I've taken a look at the betting odds and given each song a mark out of 100 in that category. And that's the betting odds as of yesterday, which was the 7th of May. Then you've got two categories that are fairly similar. Attention. How much buzz has a song been getting since it was released, whether that's through a national final or internally? Have people been very excited for it since day one, or has nobody really been talking about this song? Then you've got momentum, and that's specifically since rehearsals began. Which songs are, over the past week or so, getting the most buzz? So, for example, Israel, a lot of people have been saying that that's looking very, very impressive. So I would say there's quite a bit of momentum behind Unicorn. Whereas, I don't know, for Ireland, there's never really been that much attention Wild Youth's way, so they haven't scored nearly as highly, if you see what I mean. Then you've got my prediction, which is essentially me going through all of the songs and just making a prediction, very rough prediction at that, and just whacking them in, and then you've got a mark out of 100 in that category as well. So, then you work out the average. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This will surface on my Twitter page shortly as well. So, the first qualifier, I'll do this in a random order. The first qualifier is Moldova. Soarele și Luna by Pasha Parfeni. He has scored pretty consistently in every category. He is expected to go through fairly convincingly with the bookmakers. The second qualifier is Israel. Noah Kirel with Unicorn. The lowest mark that she received was 80. The highest mark was 92. A sure qualifier with the bookmakers. And there's a lot of attention surrounding this song. There's real momentum with this song because of that rehearsal clip. People were very, very excited to see the whole thing because the choreography at the end looks really, really impressive. The third qualifier is Queen of Kings, Alessandra for Norway. Again, consistent marks across the board, great vocals. The song is very popular, and although the momentum might have died down at just the wrong time, the general feeling is that this is still going to go through quite easily. The fourth qualifier is Portugal. Mimi Cat with Ai Curaçao, one of the best vocalists in the entire contest, so she scored very highly there. But since the rehearsal clips came out, people I think have been left feeling a bit disappointed, so she hasn't scored as highly there. But I've still put her down to qualifying, and that would be 3 grand finals in a row for Portugal, which hasn't happened since 08, 09 and 2010, I think. Anyway, the fifth qualifier is Serbia. Luke Black, Samomisa Spava. He hasn't got the highest mark in terms of the vocals, but everything else, you know, staging, the attention surrounding the song, how popular it is and things like that, he scored much higher there. So he's going through. Don't really see a situation in which he misses out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth qualifier is Sweden. Of course, this is going through. You must be having a laugh if you think this is an NQ. It's Loreen with Tattoo. Great singer, decent staging. There is a lot of attention surrounding this song, although it's not as high as it once was, but she is still going through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The seventh qualifier is Czechia. Vesna, My Sister's Crown. Still not completely convinced by the vocals or indeed the staging, but I think there's just enough about this to see the band through. That leaves 3 spots up for grabs. The 8th qualifier is Finland, of course, Cha 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 by Karja. There is no situation tomorrow night in which this song doesn't go through unless, I don't know, he flashes his bits live on stage and they disqualify him. I really don't know. This is obviously going through, come on now, and it's going to be a really, really amazing 3 minutes on stage. The 9th qualifier is a band who are going to get their bits out. It's Croatia. Like I said earlier, I was really torn about this one, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this does really, really well. The vocals don't really matter with a song like this because it is a bit like a chant. It's like with Finland, you know, you can sort of brush the vocals aside a little bit. It's more about everything else. So the vocals for Croatia, not the highest mark out of 100 here, but in terms of the memorability factor and the shock value and how much it stands out and the attention surrounding the band, which is only going to grow after tomorrow night, they've scored highly there, and that has pushed them over the line. That leaves one country, but we'll leave that country for now. Let's go through the NQs. The first non-qualifier is Azerbaijan. As lovely a song as it is, I just don't see enough people voting for it. It's as simple as that. The next NQ is Malta. A fun tune. I'd be thrilled if the busker made the cut, but again, what is letting them down is perhaps the early spot in the running order, the fact there's no juries, and also how Malta never seem to do that well with the public, even if it's a good song that they've got. So they've been marked down for that a little bit. It is what it is. Malta's an NQ in my prediction. Ireland also not qualifying. I just don't see a place for this in the final. I would be so unbelievably shocked if Wild Youth went through tomorrow night. I wouldn't be the only one as well. It's just not strong enough. It's as simple as that. The next NQ is Latvia. I know a lot of people really enjoy this one. It's a lovely song. I've already said that. I've always said that. But this is going to have to get points from a lot of countries to go through, and big marks as well, you know, not just 2s and 3s, but a couple of 6s, a couple of 7s, and I'm not sure I can see that happening. So it could be close, but I think it's another year with no final for Latvia. And if Latvia go through, I don't really know who misses out as a result. It's that sort of thing. I'm looking at the list of countries and I'm thinking, well, they're not going to miss out, they're not going to miss out, so there's no place for them. Do you see what I mean? That leaves 2 countries left, and if you've been paying attention, you'll know which 2 countries they are. It is the Netherlands and Switzerland. Drum roll, please. The final qualifier is Switzerland. Remo Forra with Watergun. I think I've been convinced by the rehearsals and the fact that the song has grown on me. I think it's grown on a lot of people, actually. And, you know, his vocals are good. The staging looks pretty good. The bookmakers think he's going through. There is a reasonable amount of attention and momentum with this song. And when I just ranked them very roughly yesterday, he got a good mark as well. So when it all added up for an average mark, he's going through. And I was a little bit surprised because when I'm putting the numbers in, I'm not really seeing sort of the updated average mark. So I don't know who's a qualifier and who isn't. And then when I sorted out the list, I thought, wow, Switzerland's going through. How about that? So, on my corkboard, Switzerland just a qualifier previously. And now I can tell you Switzerland's actually looking like a safe qualifier, at least in my prediction. So that means the Netherlands is missing out. What a shame. Mia Nicolai and Dion Cooper. Burning Daylight's a great song. I've already said this so many times. I really do love it. But it's going to be such a battle to qualify. It really is. This could get very few points indeed, or it could scrape through. I don't think it's going to go through comfortably, if indeed they are announced as a qualifier tomorrow night. And I would be utterly, utterly dismayed if this finished last with 5 points or something. That would be very unjust. It's so hard to predict how well this song is going to do. For me, though, just missing out. So let me go through from bottom to top. In last place with a score of 63.3, Ireland. Then you have 64.3, Azerbaijan, 70, Malta, 70.7, Latvia, and 70.7, the Netherlands. Then qualifying, 73.2 for Croatia, 75 for Czechia, 75.2 for Portugal, 77.7 for Moldova, 78.3 for Switzerland, 6th place I predicted. That might be very generous. I've not got a whole lot of faith in this prediction once again. It's the same every year. But, yeah, Switzerland going through. 80.7 for Serbia. Then you've got the top four. 87.2 for Norway. 88 for Israel. Israel above Norway. I didn't expect that, but there we are. 90 for Sweden. And 90.3 for Finland. So 0.3 in it between the two big hitters this year. So there you have it. Finland to win the semi-final, Croatia to just scrape through, the Netherlands to just miss out, and Ireland to finish rock bottom once again. That's it. A big ramble. I do apologise for the messiness of this video, but that's it. Let me know your thoughts, as always. If you disagree with me, that's fine, but just be nice about it in the comments. I'm going to get this prediction uploaded onto my Twitter page, and I'll be back, all being well, tomorrow night to watch the madness unfold. But of course, let's not forget, it's crazy. It's party. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and all being well, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Bring it on!